Welcome to this air-to-air tutorial. I'm going to explain you how you use the different air-to-air weapons, ranging from the Fox 3 missiles, Fox 2 and Fox 1. I will label each rocket in the timeline below, so you can just click whatever missile you want to see, or you watch all of them. I will first do the FA-26 and then show some special rockets, for example the Stinger from the helicopter. So before we start, you maybe wonder what the Fox codes are that you hear sometimes in multiplayer or from the wingmans in single-player campaign. Whenever you launch a missile, you have to call like what type you're launching, because they will get a missile launch warning, and to know if it's friendly or from an enemy, there are the missile codes like Fox 1, Fox 2 and Fox 3, and like rifle and magnum, whatever. So we will only focus on the Fox codes. There's Fox 1, which is passive radar missile. Currently in the game there's only one, that's the AIM 7, that's the only passive missile. So this is what you call Fox 1, so you fire one and say immediately in the team comms you say Fox 1, so everybody knows you've been firing missile. So when they then get a missile warning, they know it's coming from you. Then we got the heat-seeking ones. These are like the AIM 9s and the RST. When you fire one of these, you call Fox 2. Fox 2 means heat-seeking. So they have no radar. They only go for infrared, I think, or heat signatures. And then we got Fox 3, which is the most competent missile probably. There's only one type of these currently in the game, the M120s, so when you say Fox 3, you have to launch one M120. Alright, we're gonna start with the Fox 1, AIM 7 passive radar missile. This one means, so Fox 1 means that you have to keep up the radar lock until the missile impacts. So you will see the difference later in the video when we do the Fox 3 missile, the M120. So you turn on your radar and got a lock on the enemy. And then when you have the lock and you fire one missile like this, you have to lock it until the missile impacts. If we break the lock now, you see the missile trashed, so it has no more guidance. So we need to fire the missile and keep the lock until the missile impacts on the target, or it's getting trashed, so we can fire another one. Like this. Trashed. And you can see how long a missile takes to impact on the bottom left. So once we fire, you will see this one. You see AIM-17 T minus 20 seconds. So in 20 seconds, the missile will impact on the target. Alright, next up we've got the terrible Fox 2 missiles, the AIM-9E. These are the old missiles. So there's sometimes in missions with restricted loadout to make it harder. You can't set up these missiles, so the other missiles have modes like head track and shit, but we'll get later to that. So these missiles only work like with the nose of the aircraft, so you can't get a lock on the side or whatever. So you have to point on the enemy, then hold the fire button, and then press the weapon switch button to fire one missile. Yeah, these missiles are like really terrible, so you can only get a lock when you're like behind the enemy, because on the front of the enemy you won't get a big enough heat signature. Right, so now you can see what happens when you get like a side lock. Well, it wasn't that visible, but you will only like target the exhaust of the engines and not the engine, the plane itself. So if you would fly towards it, it's really hard to get a lock on. Alright, next up we have the normal AIM 9s. These are configurable now, so you can change the seek mode to to 4 modes. The first one is caged, which is like the AIM 9Es, just where your nose is pointing. Now with uncaged, it's also a bit like swirling around. Once you get a lock on something, it will stay on it like the whole time, and then you can just press the fire button. And we also have vertical scan, which is, I don't know, quite crappy, I think. And head track. Head track is best mode because you can, like, when you're in a stressful situation where enemies are everywhere, you can look at one, whoops, and fire one. And then if you turn on the trigger ungauge, what I was intending originally, you can get a lock and then hold it, unlike you're getting closer. Now, you see, I can look away, I still have the lock on the target. So you can check out whatever is firing at you or whatever, and you still have the lock on the target until you get close enough and then you can launch. These are Fox 2 missiles, as well as the AIM-90s and the coming up RST. So whenever you see it, set the seek mode to head track and the trigger ungauge to on. That's best modes for basically any scenario. Okay, the F-45 has a special kind of AIM-9. It has the AIM-9 Plus. I'm not sure if it is any different from the AIM-9, but you just use it the same. It's set trigger ungauge to on and use the head track mode. So it's just a normal AIM-9 basically. Yeah, I'm not sure what the difference is. Maybe it has more range or something like that. Better is it called homing? Better homing capabilities? I'm not sure. So yeah, let's go to the RST, which are the best heat-seeking ones, because they can not only kill enemies, they can also destroy incoming radar missiles. So when you see a radar missile coming towards you, you can actually look at it and fire an RST towards it, and it will destroy it most of the times. Not always, but probably a better chance to destroy it with an RST than trying to evade it. So these have the same modes as the normal AIM-9. Just set it to head track as well and uncaged on. They also have some kind of system that's countermeasures, so sometimes they ignore flares and still go for the enemy aircraft. Alright, we're now in the helicopter with the terrible AIM-92s. You can actually turn the radar to air mode, but you have to toggle the elevation as well, so I don't know. It's quite a crappy air radar. So you use the missile, the AIM-92 missile, a bit like the AIM-9s, the crappy version at least, the AIM-9E. So they don't have head track or anything special than that. So you have to also be very close to the enemy, or see its rear spec. And because the helicopter doesn't have a lot of airspeed, the range is also very limited of these AIM-92s. Also try to go as much as possible in front of the enemy when you launch it, like that. And, well, just hope for the best that these missiles will hit. Yeah, these are really trashy, so avoid them whenever possible. The best anti-air thing you can do with the helicopter is using the 20mm gun and just get a TGP lock and fire with 20mm on air targets. The 30mm can sometimes work too, but the 20mm has way higher rate of fire, so it's way easier. So I always prefer like a 20mm instead of these crappy fucking AR missiles. Well, it worked at least once. Yeah, I hate them. Alright, so the last kind of missile is the M120. This is Fox 3 when you fire one. These are special because they're also radar, but instead of having to keep up the lock till impact, you can unlock the target once you fire it. Because these have the built-in radar. One there. There you go. Alright, so we can select the first target, shoot one. Then we can select the next target, fire another one. Then we can select the third target and fire another one. We could even select a fourth target and fire one at that one as well simultaneously. See, we got 3 splashes. Okay, the tanker, the bomber can take 2 missile hits. But see, we can fire radar missiles at up to 4 different targets. Another thing about the M120s is, once you fire a missile, you see the T, but no you heard the pitbull. And once you hear pitbull, you can turn away and lose the lock completely. So you can turn away from the enemy as well. So I have no more radar lock on the target, but it's still hit because it got pitbull. That means it switched away from your internal radar to its own missile radar. So until you hear pitbull, you're leading the missile with the main radar to the source, to their target. And once you hear pitbull, that means the missile basically interrupts connection with you and goes to the target with its own radar, so you can turn away and you can lose lock basically. You don't have to keep up the lock anymore. So when MedTalk is enabled, you can fire missiles without a radar lock. That means, see, we have radar turned off. Now we can just turn towards the enemy and hold the fire button like this, and it will then search all the time with its built-in radar for any sources. So we launched one and it immediately found one because there was one in front of us. But it's quite useful. For example, a lot of times when an enemy is really far away, you get like their pings on radar, but you can't see them on your radar, right? So at times like that, let's say that ping over there, you can, by the way, turn on these diamonds on ARAD with the HUD option. So let's say this is an incoming fighter that we can't see on our radar yet. So you just select the AIM-120 and fire one towards it in pitbull mode, like this. So it will now fly towards the radar source the whole time and will search with its built-in radar until it finds something. So this is quite useful. It's actually turning towards us right now. So if we're lucky, it will get a lock on its hit. Probably not, because this is quite unreliable, and you also have to watch out because the MedTalk mode doesn't care what the target is. It will lock onto anything, even friendly. So watch out that you don't kill your friendlies. Alright, so that's it for this time. You're probably a new player if you don't know how to use RTF weapons. I have lots of other tutorials on my channel. So yeah, feel free to subscribe and have fun with the game, I guess.